Well, I am an admirer of Elisa's. Elisa has even worked for me, and the fact is that she is talented.
What's it called? Kermit and Friends?
Kermit and Friends.
Kermit. But
if Kermit,
you're saying
like
not to
frog?
do.
Yeah,
Wait.
I actually have watched a few hours of the Kermit and Friends.
How many hours have you watched, Natalie?
Oh, no. Probably indulged in 8 hours.
Holy.
My wife and I watched Benji's ex-girlfriends or whatever's going on. We watched this crazy podcast, and I have to say, this is one of the, probably in the top 5 things I think about right now.
She has a podcast, but she gets to come on the radio. It is craziness upon craziness.
Everybody, welcome to Kermit and Friends. I am Elisa. This is Fozzie, and Kermit is watching from heaven. I just can't tell you how blessed I feel right now. I have been taking a Kabbalah course online, and I have been listening to what they've been saying in the Kabbalah course. They told me to pray before everything. So you pray, you do a little prayer before your show, you do a little prayer before you eat something, you do a little prayer before you talk to somebody on the phone, and God will actually help you to give you answers. And I really found that that works. In fact, last week on the show, I asked God for help. I said, God, please help me get guests for this show. God, please help me. I need some help. This guy, Barry Boss, is calling me all day long, day and night. I mean, I love Barry Boss. I think he's very talented, and I love him on the show, but he's in a mental asylum right now, and he doesn't have access to a webcam. So he's just really not good for the show right now. And God, can you do something to help me? So listen to what God did for me.
Hi, this is Barry Boss. To all my fans of Kermit and Friends and the Howard Stern fan base, I wanted to say I'm so sorry, but I have to take a hiatus for a few months from Kermit and Friends for personal reasons I can't go into, but I'll be back in the show eventually as soon as I'm discharged from the hospital, okay? And I'll be on video, so it'll be great. It'll be better, okay? I just want to let all my fans know I appreciate you and I love you all from the bottom of my heart, and I care about each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year to all my fans and friends. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Wow. So if you haven't seen prayer work in a very quick manner, check that out. I'm going to bring on my co-host, Sugar. Sugar, how amazing was that? Last week, I prayed for guests. I prayed for somebody to take Barry off my hands, and God came through.
I'm glad we have such a powerful ally. Can you imagine? What else do you think God will do for us if we ask?
Literally anything. I have found that God has worked for me in my life. Whenever I went through a dark period, he's always kind of saved me and given me, the people that I need, helpers. People have come through for me so much with this show. I've been very surprised. You know, at first, when I first started this thing, I was just by myself. Let's see who's calling in. Hold on. Kermit and Friends. That might be Barry. I'm not sure. But yeah, when I first started this sugar, I was by myself, and now I'm having all these helpers come in, and I feel that's because of prayer, and also, what is that other thing that it's because of? It's because of prayer and certainty. I have a lot of certainty with this show. I had a feeling I was onto something, but then when the octopus came, and you came, and Brandon, my neighbor, came, and everybody else, I got so excited. It just and I get this little nervous feeling before the show every week. Like a little nervous. Do you get that feeling?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I love that feeling. Kermit and Friends.
Hello, this is Tall, Dark, and a Handful.
Tall, Dark, and Handsome. Welcome to the show. Thanks for calling in.
Can I just read 3 scriptures about the Trinity, please?
Yeah, sure. It'd be my pleasure.
Okay, Ephesians 1, verse 3. I got the King James Version. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who hath blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in Christ.
Mm-hmm,
okay. I'd like to read Acts chapter 5, verses 3 and 4. But Peter said, Ananias, why hath Satan filled thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost, and to keep back part of the price of the land? While it remained, was it not thine own? And after it was sold, was it not in thine own power? Why hast thou conceived this thing in thine heart, that thou hast not lied unto men, but unto God? And then the last one is John chapter 1, verses 1, and then I'll skip to 14. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was God. In verse 14, and the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
Wow. So I'm sorry, what is your name, sir?
Tall, Dark, and a Handful.
Tall, Dark, and a Handful. It sounds like most of the guys I've dated. Okay, so Tall, Dark, and a Handful. You know, what inspired you to share these scriptures today with us?
All right, because I'm just very glad that you've embraced the Christian faith, and I just think the full power of God's love is in the teaching of the Trinity. So I just wanted you and your followers to consider that.
Okay.
And maybe I could text those scriptures on the screen later if anybody.
That would be so
them.
great. Thank you. It's such a blessing to have you here, Tall, Dark, and a Handful. Obviously, you're a godly man.
Later on the show or in the future, I'd like to call in and just give my opinions of what the difference between the Republican and Democrat Party is, if that would be okay with you.
That'd be great. I'd love to know.
I'll do that later so other people can call in. Thank you so much, Elisa. Have a beautiful, blessed day.
Thank you. God bless you. What a great guy. Sugar, can you believe there's a guy on Earth like that?
There's lots of guys.
Get him on camera if he has a computer, and I can already tell.
Right. So Kevin, I want to tell you both about our guests today. We have two special guests. Okay. One is Billy the Fridge, a YouTube sensation. He has millions of views. I watched his video last night with my neighbor, Brandon the realtor. Brandon, we watched this video of Billy the Fridge. It had 2 million views on it. And so we're going to ask him some questions today. So I want everybody to ask Billy the Fridge a question. And we need to learn from him because we're just starting on YouTube here with our show.
No, definitely. And we're still confused about what his superpower is.
Billy the Fridge?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, Billy the Fridge, he's an amazing guy. He is very popular. I've never been popular like my whole life, right? So in high school, I wasn't popular.
Lies.
No, Brandon, it's not lies. In high school, I wasn't popular. In elementary school, I wasn't popular. In preschool, as an infant, I wasn't popular. Brandon, you have to believe me.
Lies.
Okay, I've sinned. Just kidding. But Billy the Fridge has a popularity that we don't have here yet. So we have to talk to him. But first, we're going to interview Andre Relis. He's a producer. He's a movie producer, a real movie producer that we have here on Kermit and Friends. And we actually did a pre-interview with him last night, Brandon, in your apartment. And we spoke with him and we found out a lot of interesting things about him. The most interesting thing, I think, about him so far, I mean, I don't know him that well yet, but he told me that he was in a cult. And I'm actually very interested in becoming in a cult or actually starting a cult. So I want to ask him about that. Because I have a lot of free time.
What did you say last night? Because I was not there. I was doing other things.
No, you weren't there. Kevin, this was a private pre-interview. So we did a
also my birthday, so thank you, Kevin.
I was going to ask how that went.
It went great.
Elisa made me a cake, and she gave me the best gift ever.
What was that?
What was it?
It was a shirt that said, I only sell homes for my dog.
Oh, wow.
And I baked him a cake.
I want to meet the dog.
That's that dog's Izzy. He's so cute. Izzy's so adorable. So, okay, I want to introduce our
Sorry,
guest.
she's so old.
No, she's beautiful. The senior dogs are the best. So our first guest, Andre Rellis, who I'm actually going to introduce Billy the Fridge to, because I think Billy the Fridge could be a movie star, honestly. And all of us could, really. So Andre Rellis was born in Santa Barbara. He's a producer and an actor known for the Humanity Bureau, Arkansas, Outlaws and Angels, and NWA and Eazy-E Kings of Compton. He's worked with Tommy Lee Jones, Machine Gun Kelly, okay, Nicolas Cage, Luke Wilson, Aaron Eckhart, Heather Graham. I could go on and on and on. He's worked with everyone. And now he's worked with us here on Kermit and Friends. So what I want everybody to do right now is think of questions for him so we can ask him questions and interview him. He's a fantastic guy, and he's Kermit's new friend, Andre Rellis. Andre Rellis, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey, Andre.
Hey.
It was great speaking to you last night.
Nice speaking to you as well. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're so happy that you're here, Andre.
Thank you.
So blessed that you are part of this show right now. I want you to enjoy yourself and just have fun.
Okay.
So I mentioned, some of your credits. Was it hard to get in this industry? How did you get into it?
A lot of people ask me that. It was kind of one of those things that just happened organically. I was in a band, and I was in a band for 10 years. Actually, I used to be a musician. And so when I was in my band, I was touring a lot. I couldn't really make a living working a full-time job. And the company, this little indie record company that signed our band, the owner of that label was he was producing TV shows for Fox Sports, and he offered me a job as a PA on these shows, which is pretty much the smallest or it's really the greenest starting position in production. And I started off there and basically worked my way up.
Wow. So you must be a very hard worker. How long did that take you to become from a PA to who you are today?
Well, it was a real baby steps, I mean, I started off as a PA, and then a couple years into it, he started a TV show, producing one that had a lot to do with music, and he needed somebody who really knew about music. And because that was my background, I ended up getting a position as associate producer, slowly moving up the chain and basically being able to book bands and interview them. I interview them live on TV for Fox Sports. And from there, because of my experience with that show, I was able to move into the film side of things. I got a very starter job at a film company in film distribution. And then I worked my way up. I worked for Trauma Entertainment, who makes a lot of schlock horror movies like Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High. And then I worked for Lionsgate. And then I got a job in an independent company, and they offered me a partnership. And I was there for 8 years. I helped grow the company. And I split in 2010, and I started my own company.
Wow. And, the way we met, I love that I know you.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so happy to know you, right? So I know a real live movie producer. And I'm just curious, I went to your dinner party the other night.
Yes.
And we had a very interesting conversation. I'm just getting a call. Kermit and Friends.
Hi, you've 330-910.
Okay, I don't know who that was. Okay, so I went to your dinner party recently, and I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. You had a lot of movie people there. And we went in your living room, and everybody was gathered around, and we spoke about, well, I don't know how it came to this, but I started to bring up the Church of Kermit, the Kermitarian Church. And you mentioned to me that you had a very interesting upbringing as far as your kind of religious upbringing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so sure. Okay, about this whole cult thing. First off, I didn't join a cult. I was born into a cult. So it was kind of just thrown upon me. I was born in Santa Barbara, and my parents were obviously going through some 70s weird stuff, trying to find themselves. And they joined this church called Theosophy, which is supposed to be the study of all religions. It's kind of a very scientific look into religion, where it's basically taking pieces of all religion and trying to find the truth. But the weird part is that it's really like centered on Hinduism. So as a kid, basically, I grew up in a commune in Santa Barbara, and there was communes all over Santa Barbara, but I grew up in a house, and there was 3 other houses on my property, and everybody in that property were part of the church, and they were spread out all over Santa Barbara. So we'd go and we'd visit all these other communes. And basically, it was very tough growing up in that sense, because I believed in a lot of these weird Indian gods that I had like 10 gods I believed in.
Wow.
It was there was a lot of brainwash with the owner, or the leader of the church. He ended up losing his mind and brainwashing elderly people into giving them their homes. And I don't know what else to say.
Wow, what an experience. Did you get anything positive out of that experience, Andre?
I did. I mean, I think, of course, I still believe in a lot of, some of the core teachings, such as karma, like what you put out into the world comes back to you. I still 100% believe in that. I mean, a lot of the core beliefs were about being good to other people. And if you're not, you're going to be, you're going to be born as somebody who has one leg. So I am worried about that. If you're born again, reincarnated as somebody who's got issues. So it kind of keeps me in check, The other thing is I just think there was a nice community, although when the church disbanded, pretty much everyone stopped talking to each other. I mean, there's a lot worse that could happen. I don't recall being abused. I don't recall being molested or some weird things that happen in churches. And I don't believe we killed anybody. I can't. But my parents were not around a lot. They were always working on the leader's house. They'd go up to his house on the weekends and do free work on his home. And it was definitely a weird experience, but I think that it made me a decent person.
It made you a decent person? So you changed to be a better person after that?
Well, I just mean in the sense that I think that it's the funny thing about human beings, think about it. I was just thinking about this before we got on this chat. I mean, I almost feel like humans are so flawed that we need to have a religion as a reason or as a incentive to keep us good people. Because frankly, think about it. Other religions believe if you sin, you go to hell. In my religion, if you sin or you're bad, you get reborn or you get reincarnated as a dog with one leg. So in that sense, I think that religion as a whole is what's needed to keep people civil.
Absolutely. Andre, I am right there with you, because I didn't even realize that the sinning in my life was leading to such horrible things. Right after I did something that I know God would frown upon, immediately after, something very negative would happen to me. And I didn't realize that because no one ever taught me that. I haven't really read about it before. And then once I started to get into the Bible and started reading the Bible, it made a lot of sense that that's where my life was going wrong.
What did you do?
What do you mean? My sins? Oh, they were everything. Everything. I mean, if
Tell
you just
me
read,
about them.
well, if you read the list of sins in the Bible, I did every one. So I had a lot of jealousy. I was jealous of other people that were living out their dreams because at the time, At the time, I was working in an office. I think I told you about it. Actually, when I met you, I was working there. I was working in a private equity company. Listen to this, Andre.
I remember.
You won't even believe this story, Andre. So I was working at a private equity company in an office after years of performing on Howard Stern, of being in a band and doing, all these things that were so fun. I said to myself, you know what? I don't want the pain anymore of being in these creative fields. And so I forced myself to work in this office and, kind of be like a salesperson, right? And I was doing very well. But then I thought, I don't want them to say at my funeral, she was very good at sales. I always felt like I was more than that. So I was thinking of quitting. When I met with you, I was thinking of quitting and getting into something more creative. But I just couldn't do it because the money was good and I could have worked there for the rest of my life. But what happened was I felt like I was going against what God wanted me to do. I was very jealous of people that had shows like this. I was very jealous of people on the radio and people that had podcasts and people that were, just doing things that were creative. And so the FBI ended up closing my company down.
What? You didn't tell me that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you that.
I had a similar situation.
Really?
Yeah, when I was in my band before I got signed. When we're younger people, we got to take jobs where we can get them sometimes,
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the hard part about growing up, because a lot of the times you find yourself, which I'm actually happy about now, but a lot of really bad jobs when you're young just to get by. But I was selling foreclosure listings and for this company that pretended like it was a government agency. And we were basically ripping people off, I found out, because at one point I wanted to look into foreclosures and I asked for a list. I said, can I get a list of these foreclosures we're selling? And they wouldn't give it to me. And I thought that was really odd. And one day I went into the department where they printed the stuff out, and it was total bogus information. Anyways, to make a story short, they ended up getting closed by the FBI just the same.
So look at that. Every person that I've met in my life that's kind of like a bad person that's sinning, they always get, some kind of punishment. And I feel like that comes from God. I really do. I feel like that's happened to me. That's happened to many people that I know. That's happened to people I've heard about. And I feel like it's real. I feel like karma's real. I just love your story, Andre. What is your next project that you're working on now?
So, I just came off the best project of my life. I was in Montana for 6 weeks. I got back about right when I saw you last. I just did a movie called The Last Son of Isaac LeMay. They've actually changed the name to The Last Son. And it's with Sam Worthington, Machine Gun Kelly, Heather Graham, Thomas Jane. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's a Western. And it takes place in the 1800s. And Sam Worthington plays this real bad dude who's sinned throughout his life, and he's just an outlaw who's procreated with a lot of prostitutes, and he has this epiphany. He wakes up one day and realizes that he's a bad person. He's got a demon within him, and his offspring with all these prostitutes, they're also have this darkness within, and he must rid the world of these demon children. So he basically goes on a mission to kill off his children one by one. And his oldest son is Machine Gun Kelly, who is also a bad dude. And so by the time he goes to take him out, the Machine Gun Kelly character is also pretty good at killing people himself. So they have to battle it out. And that's what the movie's about.
That sounds like a great movie. I definitely want to see that. What I'm going to do now, Andre, is bring on my cast to ask you some questions, because I know everyone is so interested in you. You're super interesting. So let me go to Kevin first. Kevin Cow, one of my producers here. Kevin, do you have a question for movie producer Andre Rellis?
Not specifically, but I don't know how to ask this question, but to be honest with you, have you ever acted in a Disney film or any kind of production that is in theaters?
Have I produced or acted? Sorry.
Both.
I gave up acting when I was very young, so I don't act. I haven't acted for 20 something years. But as far as producing, yeah, I've produced movies. This movie right here, you'll see Outlaws and Angels. This was a Western I produced that went to the Sundance Film Festival and it got a theatrical release. Small.
Hold on, Andre. Kermit and Friends. Oh, Brian from Louisiana. Thank you so much for calling in. We're on with Andre Relis, a movie producer and former cult member. Do you have a question for him?
Yeah, I do. I was looking at Brian's IMDb, and it says he's an executive producer. I'm a writer, and I was just curious what his day-to-day roles are. Is he a money guy, or is he actually on set doing specific things? What's the role of executive producers?
Awesome question. Thank you, Brian. Did you hear that, Andre?
I sure did. That's a great question. You know, ask me, what do producers do? You know, what do we do? We sit around on a boat sipping champagne, you know, hanging out with prostitutes all day? No.
Do you do that?
No, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, no, I do not. But one of the things is I run my own company, okay? So I have two hats. I run a distribution company called VMI Worldwide, but we also produce movies. And when I say produce, there's two sides to it. We produce movies where I'm an actual producer, and I go to sets like I was in Montana, and I literally run the production in the sense that I'm on the ground making sure the actors show up to work. There's no issues with the actors. In fact, I got in an argument with Sam Worthington the first day I showed up to set, and I'll give you a great example of what a producer does versus an executive producer.
Thank you. We have no idea. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So what a producer does, and some people get producer roles and it's real bullshit because they just maybe gave you $100,000 and say, for the $100,000, I want a producing credit, and you have to give it to them because you might need the money. But a real producer, what a real producer has to deal with on a day-to-day basis is things like showing up to set 2 days before you're shooting, and you have somebody like Sam Worthington who has a very, distinct face. You've hired him, you've paid him a lot of money for his distinct face. You show up, you're about to start shooting, and you realize the guy's got a beard out to here that he's been growing because he thinks his character needs a beard. I had the same thing happen with Aaron Eckhart a year ago. And you have to go up to this guy and tell him, look, I know you think your character needs a beard, but you got to shave this beard. Because when we film this movie, we need to know that it's your face. When people watch a movie, they want to see the actor's face. They don't want to see Bob from next door, who you look like, because you got a beard out to here.
So when you say that, Andre, to like a Sam Worthington type of person, do they ever get offended or argue with you?
Oh, yes. So I was the only producer that was willing to confront him about it because everyone else was scared. Everyone else was scared because he had talked about how he grew this beard for 6 months. So I went up to him and I just told him, you got to shave it. And he literally got in my face. And we almost got in a physical fight. I'm not going to lie. And it was really nasty. And basically I had to stand my ground. He stood his ground and he agreed to trim it to a certain degree. But he hated me pretty much the rest of the movie. And I had the same thing happen with like I said, Aaron Eckhart. There's a movie that's out right now called Wander with Aaron Eckhart, Tommy Lee Jones. And he had a thick beard, and I had to talk him into shaving it. So I know there's only so much time, but the realities of a producer are you have to be on the ground. You have to tell people what they don't want to hear. And you have to make budgetary decisions, all kinds of things when you're on the set. You have to decide, this location that we're going to shoot at, there's a problem. We can't shoot at this house anymore. What are we going to do? You got to make a quick decision. That's what a producer does. So
everything. That sounds like everything, Andre.
Well, then there's the casting. Then there's finding the director. There's so many other parts to it. And then the financing. That's a whole nother thing. An executive producer, what the role of an executive producer to do is purely to finance the movie or to find a piece of the financing. So
wow, that was such a great question from Brian. I'm so impressed with that question because I really had no idea. And now I feel like people know. We have so many people waiting to talk to you. So just hold on 1 second, Andre. I'm going to bring my producer, Brandon, on. Brandon, you know Andre already. What is your question for Andre Relis, the movie producer? Wait, we can't hear you, Brandon. You're muted. There you are.
Again, we spoke last night, but what has been the best movie you've ever worked on?
Great question.
Okay, so frankly, I wanted you to see something. The best movie I ever worked on was this movie, Last Son of Isaac LeMay, the one I just did up in Montana, because beyond my issue with Sam Worthington, working with Machine Gun Kelly, Sam Worthington, I still, regardless of my personal problems with him about his beard, he was so passionate and so into the role, and it was such great material. And we have a fantastic director, Tim Sutton. Everything about it was magical. Being in Montana for a month was magical. But really, the movie out right now that's my best project is Wander, with Tommy Lee Jones, Aaron Eckhart, Heather Graham. It was amazing. We shot it in New Mexico, in the middle of nowhere. It was a really tough experience. It was the hardest experience of my life, but I'm very proud of what I created. That would be Wander.
That must feel so amazing. I can imagine like just really working on something and being proud of it and excited to show it to the world.
It is until the reviews come out, and then things start to get depressing.
So do you read your own reviews?
I do.
You do?
Mm.
Do you get Google alerts?
Basically, in the case of Wander, it was released by Paramount, and they were it was kind of a nightmare, because basically they hired a very strong PR team, and there was great sides to it, whereas they got everybody TV interviews. Heather Graham was on these shows, because Heather Graham, very talented, huge fan of Heather Graham. She's in the movie. Aaron Eckhart, they got him on TV, but every single day they'd send me all the reviews, and I couldn't escape them. Even if I didn't want to read them, they'd email them to me. And then it would say negative in bold, negative, positive, mixed.
Why would they do that? I would block them right away.
They were just basically trying to show us the work that they were doing, as, you know, why they're getting paid. And then I just started getting obsessed. You know, it started off at like 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then at one point it went down to 15%, and I was about to commit suicide. And then it went back up again a little bit.
You know, in the Bible, they would say that reading reviews is a form of idolatry, and that you should not care what people think. You should just care what God thinks. Would you agree with that?
The problem is we're in a business. And the thing is, the reality of it is I really don't give a fuck what they think about it, in the sense of, you know, maybe they don't understand it. Maybe they don't understand the material. But at the end of the day, the problem is, because of modern technology, when somebody puts a bad review on, you go and you look on a movie right now and you want to rent it, guess what's there? The Rotten Tomatoes scores and all the reviews. So you can't avoid it. So at the end of the day, you know what? I don't give a fuck what these people think truthfully about my movie, because they don't know enough about it. But I care about the fact that it's getting, you know, it's probably turning some people off seeing some of these reviews.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Like when I was on the Howard Stern show, you know, talking live in front of millions of people, I would get these Google alerts, and the Google alerts would be so horrible. In fact, I just got one the other day, and it said, you got kicked out of Cobra Starship because everyone hated you. You whored yourself out to Benji, the fat no talent, so you could get on the Stern show. You got kicked off the Vanderpump Rules show for being no talent, pain in the ass. Now you're pretending to find God for publicity. Are you that desperate of a fame whore? Did you ever get that on Rotten Tomatoes?
I did not. But the thing is, I you know, not to say anything, you know, negative information, negative feedback, it is what it is. But when you work on something where you've literally built a script and you've literally, like, you know, on Wander, I put a lot of my own money and I risked a lot to put that movie together. And I thought that I was creating something amazing, and years into it, and then seeing, you know, negative reactions like that, it does hurt a little bit. But yeah, I'm sorry you got that about Benji. And
Thanks. You're so kind. Okay, so we have more questions for you. Let's see. Sugar. Oh my gosh, I have to have Sugar on.
Sugar, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm so impressed with your resume. I've worked for Trauma before. I've done B movies. I did They Bite. And I starred in some B movies, like for them in like the late 80s and early 90s, and They Bite is the biggest one. And I used to work for Chuck Vincent. I don't know if that means anything to you.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I can't put
He was a porno director who started doing like pay-per-view stuff. So that's how I got it. So
Yeah.
At this point in time, I have produced my own animated series. I've written a movie, and I've written an entire series for cable TV. So what would you recommend would be my next step as far as getting that stuff produced and monetized?
I mean,
Great question. Awesome.
That's a pretty broad question. I don't have like an immediate answer. I would need to know more about it. I think the best way for me to be able to answer you is to go, well, what are these projects? Tell me about them, and then I can listen to you. And in fact, one big thing we just recently did is we hired somebody it's kind of on the down low, but hey, I'll announce it. What the fuck? Okay, so there's an executive who's at this company that creates a lot of horror or schlock movies. They did Sharknado, The Asylum. We're hiring somebody from them who ran their TV division, who basically was responsible for putting a lot of their TV stuff together with the Sci-Fi Channel. And so I'm starting a TV division over here at VMI, and so maybe I can put you guys together.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. That's perfect. Oh, thank you, Andre. That'd be great for Sugar. I'm going to connect you. Let's go to our next person. This is actually our next guest, Billy the Fridge. Billy, you're on next. But I want to know if you have a question for this movie producer. Wait, hold on 1 second, Billy, actually. Kermit and Friends.
Yeah. Hey, Elisa, this is Brian from Louisiana. I got another question, if it's possible.
Sure.
I was curious what Andre thinks about. I got two questions. So I was curious what Andre thinks about the impact of PC culture.
PC culture.
What's going on right now in Hollywood.
Okay.
And then my second question is, I'm a writer, and I just recently shot a pilot, and I have a show Bible, and I'm curious how I go about getting it out to producers like yourself to see it.
Okay, that's great. All right, thank you so much. Thanks for calling in again. You're a great caller. Okay, so what do you think of Hollywood becoming so PC? And also, how do people get you their material? Because I have so many people here. Like, I have Billy the Fridge here, who's actually a YouTube star with millions of views, who could be a superstar on the big screen. How does somebody like that even get to someone like you?
Okay, let me just start with the PC question, okay?
Okay.
So at first, when this whole thing started coming out with the Weinstein and the whole Me Too movement, I was actually very happy about it because, frankly, as a movie producer, I'm surrounded by other movie producers who are, a lot of them are scumbags. I mean, I hate to say it. Yeah, and not all of them. There's some great people out there, but on the indie side of thing, there's a lot of guys who are like, yeah, I'm going to put this girl in this movie and she's going to do this for me and that for me. And,
Does that work? I never thought that worked.
Look, here's the thing. I did not, I swear to God, and, I will be reborn as a one-legged dog if I'm not honest. I did not take advantage of actresses and do stuff.
Even if Andre, even if you're, dating a big Hollywood star or dating a movie producer or a movie director, it's not like guaranteed you're going to get a role.
No, but there were some dudes who really did, like, and maybe they couldn't pull girls until they became producers. Maybe they just have, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, once they became movie producers, they started using it to their advantage and disadvantage for some poor actresses out there. And so in that sense, I was happy that kind of whole thing got blown wide open and that it was going to keep people in check. But I think it's gone too far now. I can't, I almost feel like a little awkward just by talking to an actress in my office. I feel like I have to have cameras everywhere just in case, she says something that didn't happen. So it's gone too far. That's my opinion. But it's good that it started. And if it's protecting people from bad things happening to them, then I'm all for it.
Okay.
Is it really protecting people? It seems like it's been weaponized and they use it to target certain people and other people are still allowed to get away with the same old stuff.
It doesn't seem like anybody's getting away with it, though. It's name after name after name. And I feel like everybody pretty much has taken advantage of their position. That's what I've seen.
I think that there's a point to both sides. Yes, some people, it is being weaponized 100%. And there's some people that are just getting screwed over and their careers are literally getting ruined because of it. That's why I said I think it's gone too far. And is it good? It's I mean, people like Weinstein, what he was doing, what he was getting away with. It's horrible. You find
yeah. So it's so confusing though, because I had this feeling that what would happen was these actresses, it's so hard to get a break, right? It really is in any industry. As a woman, it's so difficult to get anywhere. Even in my finance industry, I had to like scrape, to get anywhere. So you think about it and you're like, okay, what do I have? Okay, these guys like me at my company, or these guys like me that are doing films. I could go on a date with them. It's actually very miserable to do that. It does not make you feel good, but sometimes you feel like that's your only way in. And I think what was happening with a lot of these women is they were kind of desperate, right? And then so they hung out with Harvey Weinstein. They weren't planning on doing anything with him, but they did to get somewhere. And I think that's also a sin.
I think that it's both. Yeah, I agree with you.
Both people are wrong.
I think it's horrible. But then you find out about what he did to some women's careers that did not capitulate.
Right.
And it's awful. Like Rosanna Arquette basically said that her career was blacklisted after she didn't have sex with him. And it's funny because you see her career. It is a little weird how she kind of just disappeared. So some actresses really did get screwed because they didn't put out, and that's good for them. But it's a good thing that they didn't do that as far as what's right versus what's wrong. And the women that did, it's wrong that they did that for their careers, but it is a desperate situation,
Yeah, I mean, I dated like Ethan Hawke for a year. I wasn't in any movies, but I really did like him.
You dated Ethan Hawke? I didn't know that.
I did, and some other actors, but I never got in any movies because of it. But I think about it, and what?
That you didn't do it because you wanted to be in a movie.
Well, I mean, it would have been nice to be in a movie. It's bad when you date someone for a year and then they just like dump you and you don't even get like a pizza.
Yeah.
Like it'd be nice to have dated someone and gotten something.
Well, my ex-wife got a lot, so hey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so mixed on it. I feel like both people are on the wrong. You're wrong for going to a hotel room to try to get a part, and the guy's wrong for taking advantage of his position. But I think about it, and I've taken advantage of my position before. I had a fan. So the only way that I meet guys now, Andre, to be honest with you, is through this show.
I don't believe it.
No, it's true. No, I'll tell you why. Because, we're quarantined right now. I'm not working in an office anymore. So the only way I meet guys is like through Kermit and Friends or like a Howard Stern fan. So I've taken advantage of my position before. I mean, I had a fan named Gonzo who, he was a big fan of mine, and I knew that. And I used it to rope him in. So I'm kind of like Harvey Weinstein-ish in a way. Yeah. I used it. Trust me. I really did.
Guilty, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm guilty as charged.
We all are guilty though, actually,
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I use this show to get guys for sure. I mean, I don't like...
I cannot believe that you would need a show to get guys. I mean, I'm sorry, you're quite an attractive woman. I cannot imagine that that's what you would need. I think
thank you.
Something you think, but I don't think so.
It's helpful. Let me just tell you. Okay, so next question from DJ Smooth. DJ Smooth, we have movie producer Andre Rellis here answering questions. What's your question for Andre? Can't hear you. You're muted.
What's happening? I mean, I'm here for Corey. Corey, where you at, you big pussy? What's the deal? Like,
okay,
is Corey
DJ
here?
Smooth, Corey's coming up next. Okay, so right now we have a big movie producer, and we're asking him questions. Okay, so do you have a question for a movie producer that's accomplished a lot?
Yeah, you filming anything in Liverpool? Because I'll come on and do bits. I'll come on and be like,
hey, you want to know what? I got some news for you. We're filming. My next big project is going to be shooting in London and in Ireland in June of next year, and it's the story of Lemmy from Motorhead. It's a biopic based on his life.
Amazing. So maybe I'll hook you up with DJ Smooth, and you can collaborate. I have Lori here. Lori is a new Muslim and a regular on Kermit and Friends, and I believe she has a question for you, and I know she's a big fan of Billy the Fridge, who's coming up in a couple minutes. Lori,
yeah,
what is your question?
Cool. Billy's cool.
What is your question for Andre?
Brandon kind of asked a similar question. His question was, what was your best project? My question is, what is your favorite project that you've ever worked on?
Great question.
Well, my favorite project I've ever worked on would have been the movie I just said, the Isaac LeMay one with Machine Gun Kelly. But I do have the worst project I've ever worked on. If you'd like,
that would be an interesting question too.
That's very interesting.
I did this movie about 5 years ago in Alabama called The Perfect Weapon, and it starred Steven Seagal. And it was by far the worst experience I've ever had in my life. On top of the fact that Steven Seagal was a complete nightmare and the most negative person. Talk about somebody who's like a living, walking, bad person. That's Steven Seagal. And there's some stories. Talk about sexual harassment. That man did some bad things on set. And
really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Okay, I'll give you an example. He had a love scene with a woman who was supposed to play his wife in the movie. There's something called a nudity clause in a film where an actress has to agree to a nudity clause to take her clothes off and show her, her goods. Basically, there was no nudity clause with this actress. There shouldn't have been. There was no reason for her to be nude. The love scene came, and he asked her to take her clothes off. She wouldn't do it. Okay. So he says, Andre, I'm shutting down the set. I need to talk to you. I'm not going to continue working until we figure this out. Makes everybody leave. He comes up to me and he says, Andre, this woman needs to take her clothes off or I won't continue shooting. She's my wife in the movie. This is a scene where I'm supposed to be, holding and caressing her. And if she's not naked, it's not going to feel natural. And he closed down the whole set until I could find another actress who would allow him to basically do his thing with her. And it was horrible.
Wait, that was Steven Seagal?
Mm-hmm.
Does he always act like that? Is he known for that?
If you look online, he's got a lot of sexual harassment claims against him. I can't tell you it was the one movie I'd worked with him on, but it was really, on top, there's many other parts to this story. That's one little detail of a negative situation I had with him.
Oh, no. All right. Okay. So we have DJ Smooth Disciple here. He's also a British fan of Kermit and Friends. DJ Smooth Disciple, do you have a question for our producer friend, Andre?
Yeah. So big honor talking to you, obviously.
Very nice.
First of all, is Wanda the one with the disabled kid in?
No, there's no disabled kid. There's a disabled wife. She ended up getting in a car crash, and she plays a disabled woman in the movie.
Okay. Also, what's it like working with Machine Gun Stacy?
Machine Gun Kelly. He is an amazing dude. I have to tell you, I'm not going to lie. In this particular movie, we originally had Michael Pitt who was cast to play the role that he played. I don't know if you know who Michael Pitt is, but he's a fabulous actor. And he was in Boardwalk Empire. One of my most favorite actors, a super talented dude. The problem is that his age, he was playing Sam Worthington's son, and there was too much of they were too close to age. I cast Machine Gun Kelly because I saw him in a great movie about Motley Crue called The Dirt. And he was such a great actor, and he's such a genuinely good person. He's a kind person, and he's also a musician. I mean, talk about multi-talented. The dude went from rap to producing a kind of a pop punk album.
And on top of that, Andre, he got Megan Fox.
He got Megan Fox, and Megan Fox came up to the set, and I spent a lot of time with them. Megan Fox.
What kind of talent do you think that someone would need to have to get Megan Fox?
I mean, the dude's got moves. He's talented. He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive all in itself. Even if he just had a resume with one thing on it, even if he didn't have any music career, even if he didn't have any movies, if it just said, got Megan Fox on it, that would be impressive enough.
One thing is I've met a lot of actresses over the years, and a lot of actresses, actors, whatever. Sometimes they don't look as good on camera, or they don't look as good in person as they do on camera, or the woman needs makeup, whatever. I went and I helped pick up Megan at the airport. She is so beautiful.
I know.
She's such a natural beauty. I have to say she's amazing looking.
Wow. I think it's amazing that he got her, but you're saying they're pretty equal.
I mean, they're definitely on different planes in life. She has 3 children. Well, he does have he's got a child as well, but she's a lot more mature. I don't mean to say this in a mean way, but she's a lot more of a mature. She kind of keeps him in check, you know. He's a wild dude.
Well, she's older. She's older than him. And you know what? I used to like older guys, but now I think I'm going to switch it up. In fact, Megan Fox has been a big, like, I idolize her, you know, even though I'm not supposed to do that. But I think that she might have it right, because these older guys, they're very set in their ways. But if you have a young Machine Gun Kelly type, you could kind of like mold them. And I feel like she molded him to be different.
Dear, here's the thing. A lot of people think that Machine Gun Kelly is a young dude. He's not as young as you think he is. There's not that big of an age differentiation, I'm sorry to say. It's only about 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, even so, I mean,
no, I mean, he is a young
anybody. No, but she could have literally anybody on planet Earth, right? So, I mean, is that a true statement?
I believe you're right. I mean, she's a knockout.
Yeah. So Megan Fox could have anyone. She's probably the most beautiful person in the world. She has the great career. You know, she's wealthy. She has children. She just has a great life. She could choose anyone, and she chose this guy. So I'm just trying to figure out. This guy must have tremendous game. Tremendous.
First of all, you know, I was in a band, and when you're in a band, a lot of girls like you. It just happens to be. It doesn't matter what you look like, whatever. There's something about being a musician that attracts women. So that really helps, I think.
Yeah. So speaking of being in a band and that kind of thing, I have Darren, the pharmacist. Darren, do you have a question for Andre here?
Yeah, Andre, if you're wanting to get into acting, what do you think is the best route if you've never been in a movie?
The best route to get into acting if you've never been in a movie. Well, I mean, the first thing you need to, I would think that it would be important for you to take some classes to learn better skills as far as an actor is concerned. And one of the things is when you're in an acting class, you're going to be able to make connections with other people and sometimes casting directors. Do student films, get some tape on yourself. That would be something that's very important. People want to see a reel. So if an actor approaches me and they want to, see if I have a role for them, I go, you know what? Let me see your reel. If they don't have a reel, when I say reel, that means footage, literally from a movie, something. And when I say movie, it could be a student film. So it could be a friend's film. You could make your own film. Get yourself on tape and get some footage of yourself showing off your skills.
I think that's very good advice. Okay, so that's perfect. You are so wonderful, Andre. So Andre, in this show, right, we have a revolving cast. So I want you to kind of make friends here. Have you enjoyed your appearance on Kermit and Friends so far?
It's been wonderful. You know, I have to say I'm really impressed with the opening.
Really?
The opening of the show, because I'm sorry, I'm new to this. I hadn't seen it before. My God, like the montage with the effects and it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. I've been working hard on it. My goal is to have the #1 most funny and fun interactive show on the internet. So, we're going in that direction. I got some fan mail saying the opposite. They say, what disappoints me the most about the Kermit and Friends reboot? I thought Elisa Jordana had changed. I thought she became more spiritual. She hasn't. I thought she'd become less vain, less mean-spirited. She hasn't. Her toxic as fuck weekly shit fest, not fun, not funny, not my cup of tea, love Claire.
Okay.
So that's the kind of fan mail I get.
Fuck the player haters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not saying that we're players. I'm just saying, like, whatever, try and do it yourself. Do better.
I know, exactly. Absolutely. I'm right there with you. I do not like when people are building something, like when you're building something, when you're doing a movie or something that you have your heart in, like I really have my heart in here in this show. I believe in it so much.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with that. And I think
you.
that it's an understatement. It's not easy to do things in life. It's something to accomplish things in life. You have to work at it. I mean, unless you're, given, unless you're born into a wealthy family with, and so when people shit on you for doing something like this, it's wrong.
Thank you, Andre. Andre, I hope you stick around. I'm going to bring on Billy the Fridge now, but I hope you enjoy the show and stick around. And
It was amazing.
Thank you so much. What a doll. God, don't you just love that guy? Okay, so now I'm going to bring on Billy the Fridge. Okay, he's a great internet YouTube sensation. I knew him years ago. He is back on Kermit and Friends. I'm going to read some facts about Billy the Fridge here because he's so accomplished. Guest notes. Billy the Fridge. His name is William. He was born on August 13th. He's better known as Billy the Fridge, an American rapper and YouTuber. He calls himself the Fridge due to his 5'8" height and 700-pound weight. You don't look like you're 700 pounds.
These are lies. I'm 6 foot. I'm like 6'3". I'm tall. I'm a tall boy. The people want to denigrate my good name. They want to call me 5'8" because they're not happy with themselves. But that's okay. I just want to say I'm very tall. I'm very tall.
So I read your bio. That is very odd. Okay, so I read your bio, just like straight verbatim from it, and it said 5'8". So that is not true. That's
lies,
what you're saying.
Slander.
Okay, what about this? What about 700 pounds? Is that lies too?
I used to be much bigger, but I was never 700 pounds.
Okay. And the reason why you're called Billy the Fridge is because you're the same dimensions as a standard American refrigerator.
None of this is true. These are all lies. You've brought up lies. It's not your fault, but this is what I have to deal with every day on the internet. People who slander me.
I feel terrible.
It's okay. You didn't know any better, but this is literally the hill I have to climb every single day.
Well, I'm really sorry about that hill. I hate that too. On the internet, I read a lot of false things about myself as well. And it could be hard, especially when you're trying to build something and you want people to know the best things about you. I'm really sorry because I just do my research before guests come on and I just Google them. And that's just what came up for you. It said you released a total of 4 albums. Is that right?
Yeah, I've released like 4 albums.
Okay, 4 albums. In the late summer of 2016, Billy the Fridge made a diss track on YouTuber Leafy Is Here, as well as Keemster, Rice Gum, and something I can't pronounce, Pyrocynical.
Yeah.
In which he stands up for another YouTuber, Misha. When Leafy responded to the video, Billy attempted to find Leafy in real life to fight him.
I found him.
So you met a guy on the internet, this guy named Leafy.
Yeah.
And you did not like this guy. Why didn't you like him?
He was bullying little kids.
And how did you find him? Where did he live? Did he live near you?
Yeah, he moved to my city a week before I found him. And so he messed up. He came close to me, and then I went to his house, and I shook him up, and then he became my friend.
Wow. So you went to beat this guy up and you became friends?
Yeah, because I'm not a bad guy. I gave him the opportunity to change, and he changed.
He changed because of you. That's what I want to do. How did you do that?
Oh, you give people options, not ultimatums, options. You know, you give them the opportunity to do well, and usually people will do well if the other option is not good.
Wow. Okay, so you changed this guy. I've actually heard this before, that if you have positive energy, if someone's negative, positive energy is stronger, right? So if you come towards someone with positive energy, no matter what kind of state of mind they're in, you could totally change it.
Light always defeats darkness, 100% of the time. You look at the stars in the sky; they're billions of miles away, and we can still see the starlight through the darkness, all that far away. The darkness can't win against light.
Darkness cannot win against light. I love that. So I was reading further about you, and I read this very interesting story that I was wondering if it was true. It's probably not, based on what we've found out so far. But so you were on tour. You're a touring musician?
Yeah, I've done some touring musician stuff, some touring comedy stuff. I've been on the road a few times.
Okay, and while you were on tour, you ended up hooking up with a homeless woman?
I don't remember, maybe.
So during a show, I was live streaming on a website called Battle Cam with a friend of mine named Joe. A homeless girl walks by our hotel window, asks if we're partying. Of course you were. She comes in, you undress her and give her a body massage on camera. Things are getting heavy, so you take off her shoes and rub her feet. The stench of her feet turned your stomach. You ran to the bathroom. I don't want to say what happened there.
Yeah.
But your billionaire friend named Alki David called the hotel and told them his 15-year-old daughter was locked in the room. Is that a true story?
Yeah, that was a true story.
So was the homeless woman Alki David's daughter?
No, she was at least in her 20s. She wasn't a 15-year-old girl. That was all made up to make us look bad. When the hotel concierge came to the door, he was very confused, and I was very sick at that point in time because her feet stunk so bad that I was with no help.
She was really a homeless person?
Yeah, she was really homeless. She had like a computer, but she didn't have a charger for it. So I think she was like, she had stolen the computer, and she was just looking for somewhere to hang out for a while until like the computer could be sold.
Wow. So you have booked me on your show. Do you want to tell this audience a little bit about what your show is?
Yeah, we do a show on YouTube called Drunken Peasants. We run usually Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on a regular schedule every week. And it's a commentary-based show where we sit and we talk and we watch news clips and other interesting things from the internet. And it's been going for quite a while. It was going before I became a part of it.
So how did you become a part of it? Did you jump on after it got really big?
Yeah. They pulled me in. They moved to Seattle, and I live in Seattle, so they brought me in as a guest, and I just worked really well with the crowd. And
That's amazing, because I know that by having a YouTube show, in fact, I just recently hired a YouTube expert to help me here because I have no idea how YouTube works. I used to be on this platform called, what the heck was it called? Spreecast, and it shut down. So now we're new to YouTube here, and I don't know how it works. But do you know how it works, or are you just on that show? Are you doing the back end at all? Or are you producing?
I've got a lot of friends who've made a lot of money off YouTube. I know I've had a lot of success on YouTube myself. I think a big part of making YouTube successful is believing in what you do and continuing to give a product out to the people that watch you. And you'll just continually gain more people until one day you hit that tipping point, and you'll go from having dozens to hundreds of loyal fans to thousands to millions who come to you for your brand of content. That like you said earlier, you believe in something like certainty, and that certainty is what keeps you going long enough to get to the point where the people start believing in you as much as you believe in yourself. I feel like that's a big part of YouTube. It's just sticking to it when it's not as fruitful as you would hope it would be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've always believed in Kermit and Friends. I love the community that I have here. And I know when you get that feeling, see, I never got this feeling at my old job, but here I get this feeling of like nervousness, excitement, happiness. I'm so emotionally connected to it. I've never been so emotionally connected to something. Is that how you feel about your show?
I mean, anything you're passionate about, your projects, you this is something you're building. So you're going to have that. It's like a baby. You're putting your baby out in the world. And I think you're going to have that emotional connection when you are building something from the ground up. And that's what you're doing. So yeah, anytime that you're putting yourself out there, you're making yourself vulnerable, but you're also allowing the world to give you what you want to give it in return. That's a big thing.
Love that. Lori, I know you're a big fan of Billy the Fridge. You've told me that.
I met Billy back on Blab. Billy back on Blab. It's been a long time since he and I've talked. I know we talked in DMs a little bit on Discord. I think the last voice call that we had was when he was in Real Stream News' Discord. I was thinking of questions waiting for you to come on, and I was actually talking to Real Stream News. And he kind of answered a couple of my questions because I wanted to ask you about his interview with Onision if you had seen it. But I guess you watched it on Drunken Peasant, so I'm going to have to watch that.
Yeah, we watched pieces of that.
So my question is, do you think that Onision will ever get over it?
Who's
and
that?
You guys will make up and maybe be friends again?
Who's she talking about, Billy?
There's a YouTuber called Onision that it was really popular, I don't know, 10 years ago. And he's become kind of infamous in the community for a lot of reasons. and
Really?
him and I work together on some stuff, and we're currently we had a bad breakup. He called me a backstabber, and maybe I am.
Why did he call you that?
There was a whole lot of people on the internet coming after him. You familiar with Chris Hansen, How to Catch a Predator?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, Chris Hansen was coming after him, and there were all these girls saying he was a bad dude, and I kind of backed away from him and let the girls and Chris Hansen like have their spotlight with him, and it seems to have dwindled into nothing, and he thinks I backstabbed him, and maybe he's right.
Billy, I found this too. When you have a show and a platform and you're nice to people and you let anybody come on and you try to connect with a lot of people, eventually certain people, they will turn against you.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy has a history of bad friendships, bad breakups with friends, bad breakups with people who he was intimate with. So I was just kind of waiting for my time to come and our friendship to end, and eventually it did.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, you just got to let it go. I've learned that recently. I used to hold on to things. I used to have so many attachments to, jobs and people and just family members, different things in my life. And I just noticed if you don't have attachments to things, if you're willing to let anything go, and because you're going to have to in life, even if you think something's forever, nothing is. The only thing consistent is change. So you got to be ready for that, and you got to be okay with it. And it took me a long time to get there.
If you're holding on to like the old baggage, you can't hold the new gifts, right? You can't bring in the good, and anything worth sticking around, you'll find it will find its way to you. It'll walk with you. It'll run with you. You won't have to carry it. You won't have to carry things. They will just stay in your lane with you, and you'll progress together.
Okay, now we have another question from this person I do not know, named Dr. Dips Respect. Dr. Dips Respect, I do not know you. Do you have a question for Billy?
So Billy, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Love the YouTube channel. Check it out, man. So I'm a streamer on Twitch, and I got a lot of haters, like tons, because I do a Dr. Disrespect parody, obviously. So I deal with haters one way. I want to know, like, what's your favorite way to deal with people that are like disparaging you on the internet or talking badly about you? How do you handle it?
Just let them wind themselves down, right? Like, haters not going to have a whole lot to go on. They're going to come at you. They're going to try and get you. If they get you, they win. If they don't get you, they burn out, right? There's not a lot of gas in a hater. A hater is not a content creator. They're a content negator, and you can't unless you want to feed them and make it part of your content. You could always just like judo. In judo, when you fight somebody, you get defensive. It's an offensive offense. So you could get offensive with these people and use them as your pawns, your toys. You can play with them if you like. But really, if they just hit you a few times and you don't react, what are they going to do? Are they going to sit there forever? Like some people will, because they have nothing better to do. But they also are not better than you. So just continue doing what you do. Your light will outshine their darkness 100% of the time.
Well, I always think they're actually worse than you, because anybody that's trying to create something, that is, what God is. God was a creator, right? So to be like God, you create no matter what it is. And I feel best when I'm creating something, when I'm writing a poem, when I'm writing a song, when I'm doing a show. It uses a part of my brain that just feels so good. And so I think of the people that are coming down on creators and people that are trying to do something. And I just think they must be so miserable because they're not doing that.
I feel like there definitely is a place of emptiness that comes from a lot of the trolling. And they're looking to fulfill something, and sometimes cutting at other people who are attempting to live their truth is the best they can get to truth themselves.
Kermit and Friends.
Hi, I'm just curious if Billy identifies as male or female.
Did you hear that, Billy?
Yeah. I'm a boy. I was born a boy. I got boy parts. Literally, I don't identify as anything, though. People identify me how they want, and I deal with it accordingly.
Yeah, people choose to identify people. Actually, it's, what do they say about that? They say that it's more about them than it is about you.
Yeah.
So if I'm coming from my life and what I've experienced, so people do this to me all the time. So I put a YouTube video out, maybe not that many people saw it. And so somebody will comment to me, oh, she's so stupid for doing this. Why would anybody watch this? Why would Jimmy Kimmel care about this show and things like that? And I think that's their life experience. My life experience is Jimmy Kimmel has liked my show in the past, or my life experience is I've had a lot of viewers in my past. So maybe your life experience has been very small, but my life experience has been big. So I just can't relate to that.
Yeah, you've done a lot of great things in your life. You're continuing to do that. Like your story is still being written. Their story never got pinned to paper, and that's why they don't get it.
God, I love you, Billy. You're so amazing. Okay, so this guy probably has a question for you. His name is Supertramp.
Yeah.
Hey, Billy, how's it going?
He's a great
Good.
guy.
How you doing?
Big fan. Thanks for pulling me up, Elisa.
My pleasure.
Say, Billy, I just wanted to know, can we hear something from you? Can we hear one of your songs?
I got a whole bunch of music videos, youtube.com/overweight. I got Billy the Fridge on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. I think my recorded music is really well done. And if I were to perform a song, I would love for it to be with an audience. You feed off the audience.
You mean like a live audience?
Yeah, a live audience.
Like
live audience.
Yeah, it's when I if I'm performing a song to a camera with no real audience, you might as well go listen to my recorded stuff. It's better that way.
My number one regret in life, Billy, like one of my biggest regrets is I performed on the Howard Stern show live, and my sister, and when I was practicing to do that, my sister Allison said, "You shouldn't do that." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Your recorded music is so amazing. Everybody would love it. Why do that to yourself?" And I said, "Oh, no, they want me to, perform live. They want me to perform live. And I know I'm nowhere as good when I perform live as my audio, my recordings are. And I should have listened to her. I need to listen to her. But yeah, I totally know where you're coming from.
There's an intimacy when you have an audience, a live audience. There's they're pulling something out of you, and you're pulling something out of them. So you get it's an experience that you just don't kind of get when you're looking into a camera. And I think I would have to have a bigger viewing audience on the other side of the camera for me to want to try and make that work.
I hear you.
As much as I love to sit here and do a little performance, it's not in my wheelhouse right now.
I understand.
I follow you. I respect that. I respect that.
I have a question for Supertramp right now. Supertramp.
Sure.
You mentioned that you were interested in one of our cast members. So this is interesting, Billy. So Supertramp is a gay man. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, you're a gay man. And you tweeted to me last night that there's a cast member here, somebody that's on our regular cast that you find very attractive. Would you say that person, like on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rate that person?
I'd probably rate him maybe an 8.
An 8?
Based on just off of characteristics and what I've seen so far. I'm very interested. I'm very interested to get to know him more.
So is it his looks that interest you? Is it his personality?
It's his looks and his attitude. Now I like a little bit of spiciness in my attitude, just a little spice.
Okay, and you say that this guy is spicy.
He's spicy.
Okay, so he's spicy. He's an 8. I can just tell you, he's the best neighbor I've ever had.
He seems like it. I'm very jealous that he's your neighbor.
Yeah. So what I was thinking is, since you're interested in him, I love to be a matchmaker. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I used to work for the biggest matchmaker in the world, Patty Stanger, the millionaire matchmaker. That was my old boss. So I'm actually very good at this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up on a date with Brandon. Okay, with Brandon. So I want you to get to know Brandon, ask him questions, be really nice to him. I know you're a great guy, and try to impress him. Okay?
Okay.
So here's Brandon. Brandon, this is Supertramp.
Okay. Hi, Brandon. How are you? Your audio's off.
My bad. Sorry.
That's all right. How are you?
Good. And yourself?
Good. I'm very good. I'm actually, it's been a very busy morning. I work in a funeral home. I'm a student intern, as you can maybe see by the decor around me. I'm in our showroom right now. On break, we had two
You're an
people pass away
intern.
this morning, so it's been very busy here.
Oh.
So I managed to get away just for a smidgen, just so I can get in here and see the show really quick and introduce myself to you. My name is Supertramp again, so you don't forget it.
No worries.
Yeah.
So
I saw
where
you
are
on the
you
show last week for your birthday, and I was very impressed.
Thank you.
Very impressed.
Yeah, we actually celebrated last night.
Okay. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. So,
Was it
again,
fun?
where are you located?
I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota. A little ways away.
Definitely. And so you're an intern at a mortuary?
Uh-huh, at a funeral home, yep.
So what is it that you do?
I assist with embalmings. I dress and cosmetize. I help dress and cosmetize. I go on removals, bring people to the crematory. I basically do everything except meet with families and set up appointments with the families. So I assist with funerals and things like that. I've got about a year left of school, and then I do a year of internship, and then I'll be a funeral director and embalmer in the state of Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not much longer.
Not much longer. Halfway there. Well, more than halfway there. It's a 4-year degree in Minnesota, so I've already done 3 years of it.
Very nice.
Yeah. And I used to live in a tiny house in the woods. That's how I got the name Supertramp. And
Wait, how did you get that name?
Christopher McCandless, if you're familiar with that story.
I'm not. Can you go into it?
Christopher McCandless was a young man who left kind of all his personal belongings and decided to go on a trek out to Alaska.
Okay.
He wound up dying out there in a remote bus in the wilderness because he got stranded. And his name was Alexander Supertramp. When he was out traveling the world, he called himself Alexander Supertramp. So I took that last part of the name from him. Because I was kind of doing this like vagabond thing for a while in my life where I was living in a teepee, and then I built and lived in a tiny house and all this other stuff.
I don't think you should mention that you lived in a tiny house on a first date. What do you think, Brandon?
I mean...
Right?
Sorry.
Maybe if you lived in a big house, that would be something you mentioned. But a tiny house, I mean, especially to a realtor.
Right?
First dates are so weird. What do you think of him? He's cute, right?
He's not close enough.
Aw, really? Are you sure? Give him another chance. Just give him one more chance, okay?
We're in the middle of a pandemic, and he's like, what, 20 states away?
I know, but how are you going to meet people? There's no way to meet people right now. I'm not meeting anybody. I'm using this show to meet people, and so are you. Here he is.
Good job, Elisa. I lived in a big house, too, before I lived in a tiny house. I lived in a very big house. It was just too big for me.
Why was it too big?
Because it was like 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and it was just too much for me to handle.
Oh. So where do you live now?
I live in an apartment above the funeral home that I work at.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying that?
It's quiet.
I live a floor above Elisa. It's also quiet.
That's good. And you're a realtor?
Yes, I am.
Okay, that's a good profession. Good job.
Yeah, it's decent.
What do you like to do for fun?
Well, pre-pandemic, it would be traveling. During pandemic, it's hanging out with Elisa, obviously.
Okay. I spend way too much time on here, I'll be honest with you.
Elaborate.
But that's just because it's pandemic and... I know, Robin, help me out. Robin, come help me out.
You guys really, this is like the worst date I've ever seen.
No,
What is happening here?
I've been on the worst date that I've ever seen with you.
I can't believe how bad this date is going. You're both great guys. Is there no spark like Actual Human just wrote?
Again, he's in another state.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I thought I'd give it a shot. You know, he tweeted me yesterday that he was interested in you. I mean, it's just so hard to find somebody. It really is. I met this octopus on the show 2 weeks ago, and I fell in love with this guy. I absolutely fell in love. He was perfect.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and he was such a jerk. He was so sweet at first. Of course, they all are. They're all sweet at first. And then he got worse and worse and worse until he stormed off last week, and it just really upset me so much that I decided to write a poem about him. So I'm just going to read you guys my poem that I wrote for the octopus, who I thought was like a really, really super nice guy, but he wasn't nice at all. And so I was inspired by it. And every time I'm inspired by somebody, I either write a song or a poem. So this is my poem I wrote. There Was Once an Octopus by Elisa, Jordana, Schwartz. There was once an octopus. I thought he was nice. He wasn't. And I should have thought twice. He never even said that he was sorry. I wish I could turn him into calamari. In fact, tonight, I'm making a stew. And do you know what I'm tempted to do? Buy a squid and roast it, stir fry it and toast it, beat it and sear it and chew it and eat it. And after I'm done, I'll throw it up and I'll eat it again because we were never friends. He made me trust him because of his sweet appearance. In my life, he made a massive interference. And that's why I'll eat him with a dinner roll. He thinks he's some kind of like dinner troll. But when he came here, he didn't know who he was meeting. He must have thought something, but it was misleading because he actually met the biggest troll in the land who's even more crazy than a regular Howard Stern fan. I troll my way up there all the way to the top. Unless you can do that, I suggest that you stop. So next time you think that you want to troll me, you better think again. You'll end up a fish swimming in the sea. Johnny, you ready to perform? John. Lori, where's your dad?
I have no idea. You want me to go yell at him?
Yeah, he's supposed to be singing right now.
All right, I'll go downstairs. I'll be back.
Oh my God. So this is our Christmas show. I know we haven't talked about Christmas that much, but I'm looking forward to Christmas. I do not have any plans this year except to be on the Drunken Peasants podcast on Christmas Eve. Okay, Sugar, so I'm going to be there. I don't know why. I'm actually really nervous about it. Is it weird that I'm nervous?
I was emailing Andre.
Oh, really? Oh, good. Okay, yeah.
I did such a good thing today, Elisa. You know, like I was praying for like to be able to move forward and to like go on.
Sorry, I stepped out of the room for a second.
Wait, Sugar, you were praying. Oh, wait, I'm getting a call. I think this might be Gonzo. Kermit and Friends.
Hey, Lisa, it's Gonzo.
Hey, Gonzo.
I just had a quick question because a lot of us are Stuttering John fans also. Can you talk about what happened with you and Stuttering John this weekend?
Absolutely, I can.
Okay. All right, I'll take your call.
Okay. Thanks, Gonzo. That was Gonzo. Shitcock. I don't like his last name. So Gonzo just asked me if what happened with John, Stuttering John. And I'll be honest about what happened. I do not like what happened. Sugar, I've been hiking with you before.
Yes.
And it was very fun.
I enjoyed it. And I got to meet Kermit.
That's right. You did. And I would go hiking with you again.
I would love that.
But you know who illegal. Sugar, you know who I do not want to go hiking with? Can you guess?
John?
Who?
Stuttering John?
That's right. You know why I do not want to go hiking with Stuttering John?
Because I think he made you feel like he was leching on you.
Kermit and Friends.
All I'm going to say is I don't block people because they don't want to go on hikes with me. I block people because they're ridiculous. They're insane religious lunatics who think that porn is a sin and
Porn's
sex
not a sin.
and that they start DMing me, repent. That's why I block people, because I don't want any part of organized religion, and I don't take the Bible that literally. And when people start DMing me, repent, I hit the block sign. That's all I have to say about that, because I don't want any part of religious lunatics, because that's...
So that was my first time being called a religious lunatic, but I actually appreciate the insult. It's one of the better insults I've had, so thank you, John. Okay, now here's our musical guests. Another John, a better John. I'd say the best John that we know. John Bolton here to perform Christmas songs for Kermit and Friends. Introducing John Bolton.
She didn't leave the antlers on. I guess I got to add it to it. Yeah, look at this. Oh, thank you again for having me, Lisa. Good to see you. Good to see everybody out there. We're going to do, try to clear my throat a little bit and try to do Santa Claus is Coming to Town. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making his list. He's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so you better be good for goodness sake. You better not judge. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Is you live right now?
Yeah. On EJ's show. Relax, Corey. Corey off there. Show me. Bring him back when I'm done. Please. Thank you. Nobody knows Corey's ceiling fan. So you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be better, good for goodness sake. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.